चैतन्य देवम श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणी नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् हरे कृष्ण.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So, beginning the 9th chapter of the 2nd canto, in the 8th chapter, we saw that there were so many questions being inquired by Maharaj Parikshit. And very, very important question. These questions, very pertinent questions. So, Parikshit Maharaj was the most suitable person to ask the right questions, and he was seeking these answers from the authority in the form of Srila Shukdev Goswami. Right questions from the right person. So now Shukdev Goswami begins to answer. Shri Shuka Uvacha Atmamayam Rite Rajan Parasya Anubhavatmana Na Ghatateta Artha Sambandha Swapna Drishtur Ivanjasa. So Srila Sukadeva Goswami said, O king, unless one is influenced by the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no meaning to the relationship of the pure soul in pure consciousness with the material body. That relationship is just like a dreamer seeing one's own body working. So the first amongst the series of questions which was asked, the question that was asked by Parikshit Maharaj was related to the Jiva, who is spiritual, and how he attains a body which is material. This was the question in the last chapter. The 7th verse was the first question. And that question is being answered, that how the Jiva who is spiritual, he attains a body which is material. How he attains? Under the influence of the illusionary energy, influenced by the energy of the Supreme Personality of God. Which energy? The illusionary energy. To the pure soul in pure consciousness, he comes in relationship with the material body. And this is just like a dreamer seeing his own body working. So Maharaj's question, Parikshit's question as to how a living entity began his material life, although he is apart from the material body and mind, is perfectly answered. Many times this question comes. One who is a spiritual seeker, he inquires this question. I remember very well in the initial days when I came, I asked this question. And the spirit soul which is spiritual and which is superior. So how is it that the superior spiritual soul comes under the material influence, which is dead? Matter is dead. So how is it so that the spirit soul, which is superior, he comes under the influence of matter, which is dead? So it is answered here. The spirit soul is distinct from the material conception of his life, but he is absorbed in such a material conception because of being influenced by the external energy of the Lord called Atma Maya. I have already explained. Atmaya or Yogmaya, it is in connection with the spirit. And when one is at the material level, it works as Mahamaya. This has already been explained in the first canto in connection with Vyasadeva realization of the Supreme Lord and his external energy. What was the realization of Vyasadeva when he was meditating? He saw the Supreme Lord and he also saw Lord's external energy. The external energy is controlled by the Lord and the living entities are controlled by the external energy. When? When they are in material consciousness. By the will of the Lord, therefore, although living entity is purely conscious in its pure state, he is subordinate to the will of the Lord in being influenced by the external energy of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita 15:15, also the same thing is confirmed. What is the verse? 15:15, very famous verse, very, very famous verse. All of you should be knowing this verse. What is this verse, Manoram Prabhu? 15:15. We have studied the 15th chapter for more than a month. Yeah, without seeing the book.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah.
This is Sarvasya Chaham Riddhi Sannivishta Matta Smritir Jnanam Apahanam.
Yeah.
Then
Matta smriti jnanam apahanam cha. Very good. So the Supreme Lord is seated in the heart of every living entity. The Lord is present within the heart of every living entity, and the living entity's consciousness and forgetfulness are influenced by the Lord. How does it happen? How that the consciousness of forgetfulness and remembrance is influenced by the Lord? How? Is he partial? To some he gives remembrance and to some he gives forgetfulness. How is it influenced? I am continuing with you, Manoram Prabhu. How he influences?
This is based on the desire of the Jiva Prabhuji.
Precisely. Very good. Precise answer. Based on the desire of the living entity, the aspiration of the living entity. If the living entity aspires to remember him, he gives opportunities to remember him, to come close to him. And if the jiva aspires to forget him, so Krishna arranges accordingly. He does not impose his will. Now the next question automatically made will be, why the Lord influences the living entity to such consciousness and forgetfulness? The answer is that the Lord clearly wishes that every living entity be in his pure consciousness as part and parcel of the Lord, and thus be engaged in the loving service of the Lord as he is constitutionally made. But because the living entity is partially independent also, he may not be willing to serve the Lord, but may try to become as independent as the Lord is. All the non-devotee living entities are desirous of becoming equally as powerful as the Lord, although they are not fit to become so. The living entities are illusioned by the will of the Lord because they wanted to become like him. Like a person who thinks of becoming a king without possessing the necessary qualifications. When the living entity desires, this is the precise point, what you said, when the living entity desires to become the Lord himself, he is put into a condition of dreaming that he is a king. Therefore, the first sinful will of the living entity is to become the Lord, and the subsequent will of the Lord is that the living entity forgets his factual life and thus dream of the land of utopia, where he may become one like the Lord. The child cries to have the moon from the mother, and the mother gives the child a mirror to satisfy the crying and disturbing child with the reflection of the moon. Similarly, the crying child of the Lord is given over to the reflection of the material world, to lord it over as karmi, and to give up his frustration to become one with the Lord. Both these stages are dreaming illusions only. There is no necessity of tracing out the history when the living entity desired this. So it is out of our free will and independence that we want to become the Lord and Master. But the fact is that as soon as he desired it, he was put under the control of Atma Maya by the directions of the Lord. Therefore, the living entity in his material condition is dreaming falsely that this is mine and this is I. The dream is that the conditioned soul thinks of his material body as I, or falsely think that he is the Lord and that everything in connection with the material body is mine. Thus, only in dream does the misconception of I and mine persist life after life. This continues life after life. As long as the living entity is not purely conscious of his identity as subordinate part and parcel of the Lord. In his pure consciousness, however, there is no such misconceived dream. And in that pure consciousness state, the living entity does not forget that he is never the Lord, but is eternally the servitor of the Lord in transcendental love. So, unless and until once the living entity comes in his proper constitutional position. And what is the constitutional position? That he is eternally the part and parcel of the Lord. What it means to be the part? That he belongs to Krishna and his part is to be subservient, to be subordinate of the Lord. And as parcel, he has to render devotional service to the Lord. Then he cannot come under the control of the illusionary energy because he is under the influence of the spiritual energy. He is in pure consciousness. And then he happily serves the Lord. There is never ever any such distraction or desire to be one with the Lord or to take the position of the Lord. So what is important? So let us have some discussion on this. It's very important. So many times we hear this, that the Lord arranges everything according to our own desires. But what is important? So what is most important? To be free from the influence of the illusionary energy. What is the remedy? What solution do we have? I'll continue with you, Manoram Prabhu. Today the full focus is on you. You keep giving us the right answers. Dayāśīl, today you are back to here, huh? After a gap of 3-4 days. Ramya is there or she is okay, they are in Dehradun. Okay, Manoram, let us keep the focus clear. So now we have understood that how we have been trapped by the illusionary energy, by the misuse of our free will and desire. So now what is the solution? What is the remedy?
Prabhuji, this is to follow the instructions given, Prabhuji.
No. Be very thoughtful. What we have understood from the question being asked by Parikshit Maharaj and answer being given by Shukadeva Goswami, that how the living entity Jiva, which is spiritual, he comes under the influence of matter, it is because of his own desires. He wants to take the position of the Supreme Lord. He does not want to perform his constitutional service. So now what is the solution? How can we prevent ourselves from being in this dream state? It is being compared to a state of dreaming. So how we can be free from this dream state and how we can remain in the state of reality? Aham mameti, I and my consciousness. What is the remedial cause? You don't have to take so much of time. Do you not know the answer or this remedial measure?
Yes, Prabhuji, it is uh, by the process of hearing and having the knowledge, Prabhuji, proper knowledge.
Are you not having the knowledge? What knowledge is required?
Knowledge about uh, Lord Krishna and about ourselves also, Prabhuji.
Not so. Who is Lord Krishna? What is the position of Lord Krishna?
He is the supreme and we are the part and parcel mentioned in this
So
verse.
the knowledge is already there.
This acceptance is required, Prabhuji, means surrender is required, otherwise faith and acceptance. Else it will remain theoretical.
So the others can also participate. So what exactly is required to be done? What is step one? Yes, Manoram. Manoram Prabhu. What is step one?
This step one is first to theoretically accept, as Prabhupada says, many years Krishna is Supreme Lord.
So have you
And
theoretically accepted or not?
it is
Beyond
flickering, Prabhuji. Yes, accepted, but conception is flickering. Means that is not strong faith is not there.
now what? Sometimes you are accepting, sometimes you are not accepting. Flickering means what?
Means conviction is not there.
In what? In what terms?
That we are dependent on Krishna. We are not independent. That conviction is not there.
So what conviction is there?
That we are the NGR, Prabhuji.
Or we are the masters. Or we can create our own destiny. Or we can create our own future. Dayāśīl, you raised your hand. What is step one?
Yes, Prabhuji. Once you try to follow Prabhuji, though the mind will
That
object.
is much later. Yeah, what is step one? You nonsense, what rubbish you are speaking. What follow? For so many years, we are using the word follow. But what it means to be, following.
First of all, one should be always in the association, Prabhuji. This is the main thing. Once we are out of association, means everything will again will forget everything. Because in association, we're always reminded about this fact. And as you told that, I have to.
Yes, association will facilitate what? Knowledge. The first thing is that this ignorance has to be dispelled. That we are the masters or we are the enjoyers. And how that Ignorance can be dispelled, as you said, coming in association and hearing from the scriptures. And what is the effect of hearing? That one takes to the position of performing devotional service. So what is devotional service? One is taking the subordinate position. Devotional service is only possible when one takes subordinate positions to serve the Supreme Lord. Okay, we will see. This will be answered further by Shukadev Goswami. Bahurupa iva bhati maya bahurupaya Ramamana Ramamano gunevasya mama ahamiti manyate. Bahurupa iva abhati. The illusion living entity appears in so many forms offered by the external energy of the Lord. What are the so many forms? Bahurupaya. What is Bahurupaya? So many forms. Yes, Ravindra Prabhu?
Prabhuji, 84 lakh species.
Very good. Precise answer. So many species of life. 8,400,000 species of life. Why this 8,400,000 species of life is there? Because there are as many desires. So Krishna has to fulfill each desire and he has to create so many species of life. So the Bahurupaya. The illusion living entity appears in so many forms offered by the external energy of the Lord while enjoying the modes of material nature. The encaged living entity misconceives thinking in terms of I and mine. It is mama aham iti manyate. The different forms of the living entities are different dresses offered by the illusionary external energy of the Lord according to the modes of nature and the living entity desires to enjoy. Precisely. Precise answer. Why we have so many species of life? To satisfy the desires to enjoy. The external material energy is represented by her three modes, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. So even in the material nature, there is a chance of an independent choice by the living entity. And according to his choice, the material energy offers him different varieties of material body. Precise. There are 900,000 varieties of material bodies in the water. Jalaja Navalakhani. 2 million vegetable bodies. 1,100,000 worms and reptiles. 1 million forms of birds. 3 million different bodies of beasts. And 400,000 human forms. Altogether, there are 8,400,000 varieties of bodies in different planets of the universe. Many times, many people challenge. How much count does the science know of various species of life? Out of 8,400,000? Why? All you people are scientists? Manoram? How many scientists, to what extent can the science differentiate the various species of life? Not even 1 million. And there are 8,400,000. So where are these other 7,400,000 species of life? So it is in different, very clearly the Shastra says, in various planets, in different planets of the universe. And the living entity is traveling by so many transmigrations according to different modes of the enjoying spirit within himself. Even in one particular body, the living entity changes from childhood to boyhood, from boyhood to youth, and from youth to old age, and from old age to another body created by his own action. What is the verse? Quickly, Manoram, what is the verse? You should come immediately. Your time is up. Purushottam?
Only one thing, Prabhuji, Vashansi Jirnani.
No, it's wrong. It's wrong. Purushottam, verse.
देहनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जरा तथा देहान्तरप्राप्तिः धीरतस्तना मोहिते.
The first verse of Krishna's instruction in Bhagavad Gita. Where you are coming, vasansi jirnani. That is like the old garment. Where the garment is being said here. So in the same body, one is having so many changes. The living entity creates his own body by his personal desires. Again, Prabhupada is hammering this. And the external energy of the Lord supplies him exact form by which he can enjoy his desires to the fullest extent. The tiger wanted to enjoy the blood of another animal, and therefore, by the grace of the Lord, the material energy supplied him the body of a tiger with facilities for enjoying blood from other animals. Similarly, the living entity desiring to get the body of a demigod in a higher planet can also get it by the grace of the Lord. And if he is intelligent enough, he can desire to get a spiritual body to enjoy the company of the Lord, and he will get it. What is the difficulty? If it is so simple and so easy that just by desiring one can accomplish, then what is the difficulty? Pradeep, where is the difficulty? Quickly answer, don't waste time. Again, you are absorbed somewhere else. Ravindra Prabhu, what is the difficulty?
Prabhuji, lord it over the material.
No. That is there, but see, as Prabhupada is giving the purport, he is saying, if one aspires to be a tiger, he wants to suck the blood of the other animal, he gets a similar body. If one wants to be a demigod, he gets a demigod body. So where is the difficulty? If it is so simple, then why we are suffering so much? Dayāśīl?
Prabhuji, first of all, we don't desire to get to serve the Lord also.
Yeah, this is the problem. We have no genuine desire to have spiritual body because we don't want to serve the Lord. So we are again and again transmigrating in Bahurupaya because we do not have a genuine desire. So this is the problem. What is required is to have this genuine desire to be situated in the constitutional position and perform constitutional service. Prabhupada is saying. And if he is intelligent enough, this is the difficulty. We do not have the sufficient intelligence. He can desire to get a spiritual body to enjoy the company of the Lord, and he will get it. So the minute freedom of the living entity can be fully utilized, and the Lord is so kind that he will award the living entity the same type of body he desires. The living entity is desiring is like dreaming of a golden mountain. A person knows what a mountain is, and he knows also what gold is. Out of his desire only he dreams of a golden mountain. And when the dream is over, he sees something else in his presence. He finds in his awkward state that there is neither gold nor a mountain, and what to speak of golden mountain. So the different positions of the living entities in the material world under multifarious manifestations of body are due to the misconception of mind and I. The karmis think this world is mine, And the Jnani thinks that I am everything. The whole material conception of politics, sociology, philanthropy, altruism, etc., conceived by the conditioned soul is on the basis of misconceived I and mine, which are products of a strong desire to enjoy material life, identification with the body, and the place where the body is obtained under different conceptions of socialism, nationalism, family affection, and so on and so forth, is all due to forgetfulness. It's very important. A product of strong desire, I and mine are products of strong desire to enjoy material life, identification with the body and the place where the body is obtained, and different conceptions of socialism, nationalism, family affection, and so on and so forth, is all due to forgetfulness of the real nature of the living entity. And the whole misconception of the bewildering living entity can be removed by the association of Sukdev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj, as all this is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. Prasangam ajaram pasham atmana kaviyo vidho saiv sadhu sakrito mokshadvaram apavritam. So this material conception of I and mine, where it will lead, prasangam ajaram pasham. Pasham, you understand? The deadlock, the network of deadlock. Now what is this network of deadlock? Prabhupada is explaining here. Socialism, nationalism, all the ism. Socialism, nationalism, family affection, and so on and so forth, is all due to forgetfulness of the real nature of the living entity. This is all ajaram pasham. The living entity is entangled in material consciousness of I and mine. But if somehow what he can do is sayev sadhu sakrito. If he turns the same absorption or same attachment or same affection from a so-called ism of socialism, nationalism, family affection to sadhu, then this attachment to sadhu can lead him to moksha dvaram upavritam. This is what Prabhupada is speaking here. It can be removed by the association of Sukdev Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit, as all this is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. Third verse. Yari vava mahimni swe parasmin kalamayayo ramete gata sammohas tyaktva dashate tadobhaya. As soon as the living entity becomes situated in its constitutional glory and begins to enjoy the transcendence beyond time and material energy, he at once gives up the two misconceptions of life, I and mine, and thus becomes fully manifested as the pure self. The two misconceptions of life, namely I and mine, are verily manifested in two classes of men. In the lower state of misconception of mine is very prominent, and in the higher state of misconception of I is prominent. In the animal state of life, the conception of mine is perceived even in the category of cats and dogs, who fights with one another for the same misconception of mine. In the lower stage of human life, this same misconception is also prominent in the shape of it is my body, it is my house, it is my family, it is my caste, it is my nation, it is my country, and so on. And in the higher state of speculative knowledge, the same misconception of mind is transformed into I am, or I am all, etc. There are many classes of men comprehending the same misconception of I and mine in different colors. Beautiful, in different colors. But the real significance of I can be realized only when one is situated in the consciousness of I am the eternal servitor of the Lord. This is pure consciousness. And all the Vedic literature teaches us this conception of life. The misconception of I am the Lord or I am the Supreme is more dangerous than the misconception of mine. Although there are sometimes directions in the Vedic literatures to think oneself one with the Lord, that does not mean that one becomes identical with the Lord in every respect. What is it called? One with the Lord? There are two conceptions of oneness with the Lord. One is illusionary and the other is real. Both the conception is of being one with the Lord. One is material and the other is spiritual. What are the difference between the two? Who will explain? Priyanka, where are you? She is not there.
प्रभु जी किसको वो बाहर गई थी, किसी को बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के बारे में बात करने के लिए अभी पहुंची।
Oh. क्लास मत मिस करिए प्लीज, मेरा रिक्वेस्ट है। अच्छा है, आप लोग बहुत बढ़िया थे। आई एम वेरी हैप्पी। आई मीन if one has to take inspiration, one must take inspiration from Ravindra Prabhu. I pushed him and I said that you should perform 1000. He's almost done 500. Almost 500 he has done in 3 days. And I can feel from here he is day and night thinking of how to make it happen. Already is how many? 20 cartons have reached. Odisha, Prabhu, how many? You ordered first? 20.
Yes, Prabhu.
Then you ordered 5. And then again you have ordered more than 5 today. 30, 35 cartons are already dispatched. 35 cartons means how many? Each is having 20 books, 700 already done. Others are still thinking, they are not serious. And in the last they will say, Prabhu ji, हुआ नहीं. क्यों? क्योंकि किया ही नहीं, तो होगा कहाँ से? In 3 days he has done so much. I am giving him dispatch from one side and he is giving me order from the other side. Before I complete my dispatch, he gives me order. Amazing. And not every people are coming to me and saying, Lala, give me the Bhagavad Gita. He was making so much of effort. Now see, Priyanka is still not, she has just come back. It's very glorious. This is what it means to take the position of being subordinate. Others are still wanting to remain masters. However, we don't want to change our mind or conception of our mind. Even Pradeep has also given me dispatches. Ravindra Prabhu has given, Pradeep has given, even Manini Mataji gave me. So I was very happy that outstation has started to flow, but others are still busy in their own affairs. They are thinking, अभी तो बहुत टाइम है, दिसंबर तक करना है, दिसंबर ऐसे ही आ जाएगा. The conception is not changing. How the conception will change? When we will change our desires. What it means to be in duty consciousness, that it must be done immediately. Not that we are deliberating and delaying it. That in itself speaks that there is disinterest. So here it is saying the I and mind consciousness. This is, so what is the uniqueness of oneness? How it is distinct? This is becoming, one way of being one. It is called ekatvam anupashyati. What is the oneness? Oneness is that yes, I am one with the order or I am one with the idea. So whatever is your desire is my desire. I want to execute that desire. So you see all the acharyas, they are having oneness with the Supreme Lord in terms of fulfilling the mission of the Lord, not to become one with the Lord or to become master. Now what is the other oneness? Is the material conception. And one wants to remain the master, enjoyer, proprietor, controller. Undoubtedly, there is oneness of the living entity with the Lord in many respects. But ultimately, the living entity is subordinate to the Lord and he is constitutionally meant for satisfying the senses of the Lord. The Lord therefore asked the conditioned soul to surrender unto him. Had the living entity not been subordinate to the supreme will, why would the living entity be asked to surrender? Had the living being been equal in all respects, then why he is put under the influence of Maya? We have already discussed many times that the material age is controlled by the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita 9:10 confirms this controlling power of the Lord over the material nature. What is 9:10? Pradeep, what is 9:10?
वैयादक्षेण प्रकृति सूयते चराचरं हेतुनाम्ने कौन्तेय जगद्भेदः.
Very good. Maya Adhyakshena Prakati. So the living entity's attempt or aspirations to control the material nature will result in only one outcome. And what is that? 100% failure. Lifetimes after lifetimes, millennium after millennium, in one form or the other. Because the material nature is directly under the control of the Supreme Lord. That the controlling power of the Lord is over the material nature. Can a living entity who claims to be as good as a supreme being control the material nature? The foolish I would reply that he will do so in the future. This is what it means to be a demon. That he wants to replace the Supreme Lord. The reply would be that he will do so in the future, even accepting that in the future one will be as good a controller of material nature as the Supreme Being. Then why is one now under the control of material nature? Prabhupada is raising this question. The Bhagavad Gita says that one can be freed from the control of material nature by surrendering unto the Supreme Lord. Mamevaya prapadyante mayam etam tarantide. But if there is no surrender, then the living entity will never be able to control the material nature. So one must also give up the misconception of I by practicing the way of devotional service and becoming firmly situated in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. A poor man without any employment or occupation may undergo so many troubles in life. But if by chance the same man gets a good service under the government, he at once becomes happy. There is no profit in denying the supremacy of the Lord, who is the controller of all energies. But one should be constitutionally situated in one's own glory, namely to be situated in the pure consciousness of being the eternal servitor of the Lord. In his conditional life, the living entity is the servant of the illusionary Maya. And in his liberated state, he is the pure, unqualified servant of the Lord. To become untinged by the modes of material nature is the qualification for entering into the service of the Lord. What is the verse? Manuna? To become untinged by the modes of material nature is the qualification for entering into the service of the Lord. Manuna, bro? What is the verse? study of Bhagavad Gita is still not proper. Purushottam, what is the verse?
Don't know, bro.
You should know how we will be released from the Maya. If theoretically we don't know what is the solution given in Bhagavad Gita. So how can you say that you have studied Bhagavad Gita if you don't know what is the remedy or what is the cause of conditioning? Where is Ramya, Dayāśīl?
Yes, Prabhuji, taking rest now, Prabhuji.
She's taking
Yes.
rest.
Ji, Prabhuji.
Yeah, you people are having terms of what 2 days you were sleeping and now she is sleeping. Who will answer? Manaswarup Prabhu, you know the verse?
No, Prabhuji.
You should know. More than 10 years, 15 years of studying and still we don't know what is the basic solution. Remedy given in Bhagavad Gita, the basic book. Sonika?
Don't know, Prabhuji.
Very sorry state. You know Priyanka and Ravindra Prabhu? Unmute and speak, Ravindra. Mam choya abhyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samite dan ब्रह्म भूयाय कल्पते. नहीं सुना आपने ये वर्स? हाँ? How one can be released or how one can enter into the devotional service? What is the effect of performing devotional service? That he is freed from the influence. 14th chapter and second last verse. 26th verse. It transcends the modes of material nature and comes to the state of Brahman. Also in the 18th chapter, Krishna explains this principle. Anyone knows? Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Na Shochati Na Kankshati Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu Madhbhakti Labhate Param. 18.54. So in both the verses, that one who has actually come to the platform of devotional service, he is freed from the contamination of the three modes. Actually, unless and until one is freed from the contamination of the three modes, one cannot come to perform devotional service. To be untinged by the modes of material nature is the qualification for entering into the service of the Lord. As long as one is the servant of the mental concoction, one cannot be completely free from the disease of I and mind. The Supreme Truth is uncontaminated by the illusionary energy because he is the controller of that energy. The relative truths are apt to be engrossed in the illusionary energy. What is the relative truth here compared to living entity? The best purpose is served, however, when one is directly facing the Supreme Truth as one faces the sun. The sun overhead in the sky is full of light, but when the sun is not in the visible sky, all is in darkness. Similarly, when one is face to face with the Supreme Lord, he is freed from all illusions. And one who is not so is in the darkness of Maya. Prabhupada quotes the same verse. See, Prabhupada has quoted the same verse. In the Bhagavad Gita 14, 16, 26 confirms that Mam choya vivicharena. Prabhupada will quote both. Bhakti yogena sevate sa gunan samite tan brahma bhuyai kalpate. So the science of Bhakti Yoga, worshipping the Lord, glorifying the Lord, hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam from the right source, not from the professional man, but from a person who is Bhagavatam in life, and being always in the association of pure devotees, should be adopted in earnestness. This is the remedial measure. one should be situated in the science of Bhakti Yoga. And how it begins? By hearing from the right sources and remaining, as Dayāśīl Prabhu was speaking, in the association. One should be adopted in earnestness. One should not be misled by conceptions of I and mine. The karmis are found of the conception of mine. The jnanis are found of the conception of I. And both of them are unqualified to be free from the bondage of illusionary energy. Srimad Bhagavatam and primarily the Bhagavad Gita are both meant for delivering persons from the misconception of I and mine. And Srila Vyasadeva transcribed them for the deliverance of the fallen souls. The living entity has to be situated in the transcendental position where there is no longer any influence of time or the material energy. In conditioned life, the living entity is subjected to the influence of time in the dream of past, present, and future. This is in the conditioned life. The mental speculator tries to conquer the influence of time by speculating about Vasudeva or the Supreme Lord. In the future, by means of culturing knowledge and conquering over ego. But the process is not perfect. This is the Gyan Marg, the mental speculators. The perfect process is to accept Lord Vasudeva as the supreme in everything. And the best perfection in culturing knowledge is to surrender to him because he is the source of everything. Vasudevam Sarvamiti. Only in that conception can one get rid of the misconception of I and mine. Both the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam confirm it. Srila Vyasadeva has specifically contributed to the illusion living entities, the science of God, and the process of Bhakti Yoga in this great literature, Srimad Bhagavatam. And the conditioned souls will fully take advantage of this great science. So I'll stop here. So the first question that was raised is being answered. That how the living entity who is superior, who is spiritual, how he comes under the material conception, or how he is entangled in the material modes. Hare Krishna. Tomorrow Dayāśīl is not available. He will come late in the afternoon. Dayāśīl, will you have the class or you don't plan to have the class also in the evening?
Class we can have, Prabhuji.
You have to coordinate. Just by
Yes.
speaking, it will not happen. You know, it is very easy to speak and claim that yes, but to do it is a total different proposition. Have you given the invitation today so far? No. Yes or no?
No, Prabhuji. Tomorrow morning we'll give Prabhuji the Zoom link. Just a message I will send today.
Okay, see, I will be chanting early morning. I mean, we will be chanting here in the temple. And those who want to chant, they can tomorrow is Ekadashi. And I don't want to miss, chanting extra rounds. So I'll be chanting with the Japa retreat devotees. They will start early tomorrow. And you also all chant. Sleep early. Sleep as soon as possible. Don't waste time so that you can wake up tomorrow early. And please chant more rounds. Chant minimum 48, if not 64. The target should be 64. And try to chant at least 32 rounds by 7 a.m. and then further 32 between 7 to 11 a.m. By 12 p.m. is all possible. If you wake up at 3, by 12 easily you can chant 64 rounds. If you want, you can have a Zoom meeting from 8. Pradeep, tomorrow you have one off?
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
You want to chant?
Yes, Lord.
Okay, so you give a Zoom meeting from 8. I will join you through Zoom if possible. I don't assure you. But if I don't join, you can join. Every day morning I am checking who is chanting, and every day I am finding only 3-4 devotees. Pradeep is there, he is the first one to come. And then now, of course, Ravinder is also there, and I am finding these days Manoram. He is also there in the morning before 5:30. There is no point in joining after 5:30. It is already late. Purushottam, you should not miss now. Okay, this kind of laziness and craziness is not going to help. This conception of I and mine will never go. This form will go, some other form will come, Bahurupam. You see how clearly Srimad Bhagavatam is speaking. What it means to surrender. Surrender means to serve. And what it means to serve is to sacrifice self-enjoyment or sense gratification. And if we are not willing to give up sense gratification, then there is no question of any service or surrender. We are very good in making show, but that show will not help. So become serious. And Sonika, I don't see you ever joining the morning chanting program. In last 2 months, I would have checked at least 15 to 20 times, but I never saw you. So you see if you want to take advantage of this forum. It is for everyone, those who are hearing. We are very few people now. How many? Not even 10. Now people are not interested actually. They are interested still in they are still thinking that material life and material enjoyment is all in all. They have not matured. Okay. So Ravindra Prabhu and Priyanka, you people wake up early and you chant, and from 8 o'clock we will be in the Zoom. Okay. I will be with my Japari devotee. I don't know whether they will allow. If phone will be allowed, then only I will switch in. Otherwise, chant. Don't come out of your houses. There is no point. The Delhi environment is not very congenial these days. The pollution is very high, and all this terrorist threats and all are there. Better remain in house and chant for our purification and for universal peace also. So it will help. It will help you also, and it will help others also. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Tathai God Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.